Doc just said. As a coach, would you want to see somebody like Dale take part of that first opening match against England, sir?
Look, the tournament is 6 weeks long, and if it is that, he's not 100% ready. We're doing everything we can to get him ready for that first game, but if it is that he's not ready for the first game, and then he's therefore then ready to play a part in the remainder of the tournament, then obviously that's something that we'll look at.
Does the fact that you play like a third of your league games in the first week kind of playing kind of have any kind of impact on the decision about that?
No, not really. I think, like I said just then, he's an important part of our setup, our strategy, and the strategy isn't just for the first week. The strategy is for the whole 6 weeks, and hopefully, if he's not able to play a full part in the first week and he's able to play a part in the latter stages of the tournament, then that's something that we're prepared to accept.
Could we ask you almost any type of question already? Now, the time is now. You guys are leaving tomorrow. What is the thinking now, mental thinking now, heading off to Britain now, and what goes through your head at the moment?
Well, practice this afternoon is the first thing. We still got one more practice session before we leave, and then we've done a lot of talking, a lot of really good talking. We've had a little trek up. I kept calling it a hill, but then when I got halfway, I realized it was more than just a hill. We had a little trek up the mountain together as a group, and the guys are hungry, No superstars, no egos, none of that sort of stuff. I keep saying to them that no one person has ever won a World Cup, so whether we win or lose or whatever, it's not going to fall on one person's shoulder to take us to where we want to get to. It's going to be a team effort, a squad effort, and yeah, the guys are hungry and we're ready to go.
But just the last few results between Pakistan and England as well, just showing what we all thought we knew, that it's going to be it's high scoring games at the moment in England. The Proteas strategy is to, with bowling in mind, to have strike bowlers, but you won't always be able to bowl first. Do you believe that you have the batting lineup to put on 350, 380 regularly?
Yes, we do. Is a short answer. We've been playing well. We've been playing a certain type of cricket. We've spoken a lot about that, and we don't want to read too much into what's going on with Pakistan and India and England at the moment, because both bowling attacks are missing certain players at certain times. So there's no Amir in Pakistan's attack. That might make a difference. We feel like we have the bowling attack to get any sort of score that we get. So if we only get 280, often you can try to get 350, reach for 350 and get ball out for 250. So we got to try and bat properly, obviously, but we feel that whatever score we get, we put on the board, we have the bowling attack that can defend that score.
But just following up on that, the bowling attack, I mean, can they be just as effective defending a total, say, because presumably taking wickets also happens when teams are under the pressure of chasing.
Of course, well, we'll have to defend. So we'll get opportunities to bowl first. I'm sure most teams, if you look at what's going on now, most teams will probably win the toss and think, well, we don't know what a good score is, so we might want to just bowl first and then try and chase whatever the opposition gets. So that's something we'll have to look at and have to be ready for. We know what our strategy is around what's going to happen when we win the toss. Again, we're going into certain conditions, so certain places are better for chasing than they are for setting a total, and we're aware of that. We've got all the history of the venues that we're playing at and everything, and we just have to go out. A lot will depend also on the conditions that we face in England. We know that when the clouds come over, things can change quite quickly. But again, we've prepared for all that sort of stuff.
You spend a lot of time with the bowlers. Do you also give as much time and emphasis on the batting, or do you sort of delegate that to someone else, to Faf maybe, or to Benkenstein, or what's the working like with the batting?
I spend equal amount of time across the board, but I trust the people that we have as support coaches. So I trust Benke's input. Faf has a large say in how he talks to the batting group and make sure that they understand what each and every person's role is. But I sort of operate across the full spectrum.
Yes, Robbie. Coach, just what do you make of South Africa's obsession with winning the World Cup and Proteas winning the World Cup?
Well, I think it's the ambition of every team first, and then obviously every country to want to win the World Cup. I think since readmission, they've had chances to win the World Cup, and it's not happened. And every team will be having the same conversation. Every team that goes to the World Cup, even if it's in Afghanistan going to their first World Cup, there'll be somebody in the Afghanistan organization or in the country that will want Afghanistan to win the World Cup as well. So we're going there. We understand the history of the World Cup to South Africans. Though the one thing I've always felt as a sort of foreigner, if you like, coming into South Africa from when I played to now, South Africa is a sports mad country. That's the one thing we know, and we've had success in it. The rugby has won World Cups already, and we feel that cricket is played, all across the country and in the rural areas and whatever. Cricket seems, to me, this is my own feeling, it seems that cricket represents the country more so than most other sports, and therefore they feel like now is the time for cricket to win the World Cup, and we're gonna give it our best for sure, and hopefully on the 14th of July we'll be playing in that game at Lord's, and everybody, the country will be smiling.
As a coach, do you allow yourself to count the number of games South Africa need to win to make the semi-final? Because that will obviously be the first goal. Do you go on a game-by-game basis?
We've spoken about what we think we need to do to win the World Cup, or to get to the latter stages. But again, once we get to England, it's one day at a time, one step at a time. We don't get too far ahead of ourselves. One of the guys in the team, when we had the trek up the mountain, the closer you got to the top of the mountain, everybody started to look up because they can see the finish line, and he said that's where he felt the most unstable, and that's where he missed a step and lost his balance. So it's the same thing relating to cricket. If we start reaching too far for the end and don't take care of what's going on in the first step, so it's going to be a step-by-step process the way through the whole tournament. We're not going to think or get too far ahead of ourselves.
That being said, have you got a figure in mind? How many games you need to win out of 9?
Not one that we want to share, but we have got a figure in mind for sure. We know exactly what we think we need to do to get to the next stage, and then once we get to the next stage, then obviously whoever we're playing is a team that we would have played before, and anything is possible in a knockout situation.
Coach, is this tournament a table mountain to climb or Mount Everest to climb for start?
It's a table mountain, and that's the reason why we went up Table Mountain, because it's familiar to us. At the end of the day, you walk up a mountain, or you go to the World Cup, it's still cricket, and that's what I've been preaching since I've been here for the 2 years. It's still cricket. We're going to play cricket. It's sort of packaged as the World Cup, but at the end of the day, it's still cricket. So we're going to play South Africa in the Cricket World Cup, but we played South Africa Sri Lanka a couple months ago. We played Pakistan a couple months ago. We went to Australia and beat Australia. We went to Sri Lanka and beat Australia, and that was cricket. So now we're going to go and play all those teams in England, and it's called the World Cup, but it's still cricket. If you lose sight of the fact that you're playing cricket, that's perhaps where you might stumble or you might fall down. But we're going to go and play cricket. We know that we've got very good cricketers, and that's the one thing that we do know. We've got very good cricketers, and if those very good cricketers stay focused on the discussions that we've had, and go and play to their best, then we feel like I said, I've felt this way a long time, that we're sort of on the verge of doing something very special as a group of people together.
Like we skipped the last week for Ottis. Proteas.
Coach, post the World Cup, how soon will we know whether you are staying with us already?
That's above my pay grade. I haven't had those conversations yet, so I don't know.
Otis, do you feel like there's no pressure on South Africa for that first game? All the pressure's on England?
Well, completely. They're the favorites. They're playing at home. They're the #1 team in the world at the moment. I've said before, there's nobody talking about us. We know the strength of the team that we have, but we also know the spirit that we have within our group, and how our culture has shaped us to where we are right now, and we feel, like I said before, that we're very ready to go and play some very good cricket and make ourselves part of the conversation in a lot of stages of the tournament.
Last one for Ottis. Okay, good. Just one behind you.
Me?
No, just behind.
Coach, I heard you talking about the, the baggage of the past, how it has affected teams in the World Cup and major tournaments. In all these discussions you've been having, have you really discussed this baggage, the psychological effect it has on the team? Because it seems like it's a mental thing as well. It's not just about them not being physically able to perform badminton. Have you really focused much of the discussions also on that aspect?
We try not to focus on baggage. We try to leave baggage in the baggage compartment and just focus on the positive things that come to the front of your brain when you're trying to go and if we get to that point, we'll do something that's never been done, and therefore you don't want to carry too much baggage of what's gone on before. We only focus on what's ahead of us now, and the journey ahead of us is one that we visualize. We spend a lot of time visualizing that journey and what it looks like and what it's going to feel like and stuff like that, and each and every person's part within it. And there's not too many people on that journey that's got baggage, so we try not to take that baggage anywhere at all with us, to be honest.
Just going with the last one, please.
Okay.
No, but
Are you
it's
sure?
It's a pretty dumb question.
Have you got one, Ken?
Go for it, mate.
Do you feel that England, and especially given their history, maybe they're a bit vulnerable because, batting in such lovely conditions, making 350 plus every game, do you think maybe it puts them in a position where maybe they are vulnerable for, a poor batting performance at some stage if conditions are a bit different?
I don't know. I tend not to focus too much on England, to be honest, Ken. I think they're playing great cricket. You can't get away from that. They're playing some very good cricket. They're fearless. They're playing at home, like I said, so they'll know the conditions very well. And our focus for that first game isn't going to be about what they've done. It's going to be about what we're going to do. We're going to focus on what we're going to do and make sure that we do it very well. The number one team in the world, I think P-Dog gave me this stat, so it could be completely wrong, but P-Dog said the number one team in the world for the last 5 World Cups has only won once, so whether that's true or not, it sounds really good to me. So that's what we're working with in the team. You don't have to be number one to win. You don't have to be favorites to win. So we're not number one or we're not favorites, but we're very confident that we can win, and that's what we're going with.